the entire concept of awkwardness was just some sort of late capitalist emotional scapegoat? Like, what if all the hesitation, the conversational stuttering is actually just your inner self screaming at you, stop lying? What if your body is not betraying you? What if it's just literally the last honest part of you left and it's waging biological warfare against your lifetime of carefully curated bullshit? Like, imagine the existential horror of that for a second. You thought the problem was you were socially anxious or shy or introverted, when actually it's something far, far worse. You're fundamentally, catastrophically, spiritually inauthentic. And your nervous system knows this. In other words, the so-called awkwardness might just be proof that there's some teeny tiny little part of you deep down inside that's still alive enough to hate the fucking performance. So now what? Do you keep lying? Do you keep pretending? Or do you maybe finally admit to yourself that the phrase just be yourself isn't just some cringy slogan, but rather a fucking survival imperative? Either way, that's what we're unpacking here today, if you can handle it. I mean, let's just get down to the core of the rot here. The actual lie you've been telling yourself for what, 20 years, 30 years? Your whole life, probably, because let's face it, nobody wakes up at 17 like, hey, you know what would be great? A lifetime of soul-crushing performance for people whose opinions I don't give a fuck about. And yet, here you are. You keep walking into rooms, and instead of asking yourself, what do I actually think? You ask yourself, what's the acceptable thing to do here? What's safe? What's cool? What will help me avoid confrontation or judgment or rejection or embarrassment? And 100 other fucking disasters your brain's convinced are gonna happen if you actually ever let your real self out. So instead of existing, you start performing. Your posture shrinks down. Your voice starts lilting up at the end of the sentences. How's it going? Do you like me? And a bunch of these other fucking dumbass questions with this fake cringy smile on your face. And you think, I guess I'm awkward, but you're not awkward, you're just lying. And the lie's simple. You think the only way to be safe is to be invisible. But it turns out invisibility feels like dying in slow motion. The nervous system knows this. It fucking despises it and it fights back. So guess what happens? You fucking choke. You run out of things to say. You think you're like malfunctioning, but in fact, it's the exact opposite. It's your nervous system inside firing off in your chest saying, you're alive, bitch, fucking act like it. And the only question left is whether you're finally ready to listen. If what I just said here hit you in some kind of way, that's your soul trying to claw itself back into existence. You are living on borrowed identity. You're running up a personality debt, and the interest is actually eating you alive. Like every second that you spend performing this lie, you're losing opportunities, money, respect, relationships, literally every single good thing in life. But it does not have to stay that way. You can fix this right now. You can click the link in the description below. You can join the mentoring program, my boot camp. You can train with me personally. I'm not here to fix your confidence, okay? I'm here to destroy the lie and replace it with presence so real it hurts, that it demands attention, respect, recognition. Look, this ain't self-help, okay? This is self-resurrection. So stop glitching, stop losing, and click the link, or don't. It's your choice. Maybe you think you can keep performing and blending in. So let's talk about what happens if you don't stop. Because there's always a price to pay, isn't there? And it's way bigger than just feeling awkward once in a while. The real cost is existential, right? Every time you fake your smile, fake a laugh, every time you calculate the response, you're training your nervous system to believe that the real you is too dangerous to show up. And your body listens to that. It internalizes the message, it keeps the score until eventually you just disappear entirely. This isn't poetry, okay? This is psychological fact. You become background noise in your own life, just like this blurry, forgettable footnote in every single interaction you have, a piece of fucking furniture. Somebody whose opinion and even presence ultimately does not matter. And again, at this point, it's not awkwardness anymore, it's erasure. It's like a slow motion spiritual suicide. Is it scary to you? Good. Because if you're afraid, that means there's some life left, right? There's still something left to save. And the question now isn't how to stop feeling awkward. The question is whether you're finally ready to, again, stop lying and, stop hiding and start becoming real enough to make a fucking difference in your life, okay? So here's the shift. Clear, immediate, non-negotiable, right? Instead of asking yourself, what's the right thing to say, ask yourself, what's the real thing to say here? Like, that's basically my prime directive in any conversation I have. Like, what's the funniest shit that I can say right now? To me, not to them. And this ain't some like abstract advice. This is an immediate intervention. In every single interaction that you have, take a quick millisecond. Pause and check in with your body before you say something. Do I mean this? Is this my truth? If not, don't fucking say it. The more that you speak from truth, even if it comes out like messy or unpolished or they don't fucking get it, the more your body will stop sabotaging you. Because again, your nervous system is designed to amplify congruence and sabotage deception. Secondly, let yourself feel uncomfortable. Realness isn't always smooth, okay? It isn't always easy. It can be quite uncomfortable, in fact, especially when you've been trained for decades to hide behind these fucking lies. Look, you want gangster results, you gotta do gangster shit. Point blank, period. You gotta lean into the discomfort, lean into the silence, lean into the eye contact, right? Every time you hold presence and discomfort, prove to your body that you can survive authenticity. And then it becomes your new baseline. Number 3, be amused by your imperfections. Your awkwardness is fucking hilarious if you just let it be. Like, start laughing at yourself first. Again, awkwardness is only awkward if you're ashamed of it, right? If you own it with self-amusement, it magically transmutes into charisma. It becomes charm. It becomes proof that you're human and therefore magnetic. Number 4, stop trying to blend in. Blending in is a survival strategy. Setting the tone, setting the vibe is a leadership decision. The second that you walk into a room and just like match the energy, you're fucking done. You become invisible. You told yourself that invisibility equals safety, but the safest people in the room are actually the ones that are never invisible, right? They're the ones that like don't match the vibe. They actually generate the vibe. Not because they're like trying to impress anyone, but because they're not trying to be anything other than exactly what they are. You know, they're done fucking negotiating with all this shit. They don't perform. They transmit. And that transmission, that weird collision of stillness and certainty and aliveness, that's what everyone else unconsciously calibrates to. You've seen this. You've seen it at a party, on the subway, in a club. Somebody walks in and they're not really doing anything that special, but the energy is kind of warps around them. They're ever so slightly. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's the move. So don't blend in, broadcast. Let the room figure you out for once. Let your reality set the tone. And look, the thing is, you don't have to force this. You don't have to like dominate. You just have to broadcast something fucking real. It can be calm, it can be playful. The style of it is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's coming from you, not from your need to be accepted. Because again, it's not about being like the most charismatic. It's about being the most anchored, the most here. In a world full of like fake noise, the person that's broadcasting real signal is the one that gets remembered. Finally, stop making authenticity conditional, right? Don't wait until you're confident. Don't wait till you're ready. Don't wait until you have permission or till the vibe is right. Till you're confident or high value or fully healed or whatever fucking performance-ready fantasy your brain keeps dangling in front of you like a fucking carrot taped to the end of a treadmill, right? That moment that you're waiting for is never gonna come. Right? There is no final checkpoint where the world pauses, hands you a certificate, and says, oh, okay, now you're good enough. Now you may be real. You become ready by stepping forward without permission, right? Every moment that you speak from that real place, even if your voice shakes, even if you're afraid, that's when your nervous system starts rewiring. Not because you like did it right, but simply because you refuse to disappear. And that's where awkwardness dies. Right? Authenticity isn't given, it's claimed, moment by moment, choice by choice. Claim it now, because the real you was never awkward. The real you was just waiting for permission to exist, and right now you finally have it. So here we are, okay? No more theory, no more coping, no more nice little labels for why you've been holding yourself back. You weren't awkward. You weren't broken. You weren't bad at socializing. You were pretending, and your body revolted. Right? That freeze, that shutdown. Again, that was your last remaining fragment of honesty telling you this shit ain't working. So the next time you walk into a room, don't look around to see what's allowed. Bring the energy. Set the tone. Speak before you feel safe. Exist before you're approved. And if that shit feels awkward, good. Why? That means it's real. That means it's actually you. In fact, that means it's working. You don't need permission anymore. You've already been chosen. By whom? By yourself. It's your boy Jeffy, and I'll see you next time.
I started boot camp at a 0 out of 10 as far as my willingness and my ability to approach strangers and to believe that the conversation would go well. But Jeff, thank God, wasn't afraid of the fact that I felt that way. He'd seen it before. He knew what to do. He stepped on my toes a little bit, and I gave him a fight. But he took me from a 0 probably up to a 4, maybe a 5. And that is a big difference for me because it has meant just the possibility that I can do it in the future. It opened up faith that I can walk up to somebody, have it go well, and create a connection. So for that, boot camp was absolutely worth it. And I highly recommend it. Thank you, Jeff.